Jordan,
Iain,
who went for a routine eye test, was told they had a rare condition which allowed them to see into the fourth dimension, got told there were no glasses to fix such an ailment, so instead of moping, used it to their advantage and now makes a living betting off interdimensional golf.
Wilbur Soot?
No, two guys. Cheers, me old pal.
Cheers!
Hello, and welcome to episode 67 of Two Guys What's Up, the weekly comedy podcast where my eyes are shit, but not shit enough to make a living off. But I don't need 20/20 vision to see how amazing this guy is. Bill, how's it going, mate? Look, mate, I know you've just arrived, pal, and you are glorious, and I'm sorry to be such a pain, but would you just mind moving your perfect form to one side, please? I just need to see that dishevelled goblin behind you. Thank you very much. And here he is,
hello.
My old pal Jordan.
Hi,
How are
hello.
you, pal? How's it going?
I'm alright, I think. Well, I was until that intro.
Until I got put down like a rabid dog.
I'm used to it, it's fine. To be totally honest. Are you alright, though?
Well, I'm looking forward to this episode because I have a fucking crazy story, and the alcohol is really doing a number on me right now.
Does sound like it.
We're in the same room, we're in Jordan's house, we're having some drinks, it's good. We had a few cocktails given to us by ChatGPT, but it mistook pineapple rum for pineapple juice. So in every drink we've been making, we have just substituted what they said as pineapple juice for pineapple rum.
Yes. That's alright, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, absolutely. For me, at least. I mean, you're an amateur.
It's true.
You only drink once a week. But, it's gone right to our heads. We're a little bit smashed.
But life is good.
Life is good because we're smashed.
Absolutely.
I keep trying to tell people I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just having fun.
Yeah, you have zero problems drinking.
Exactly. And if I just perpetuate it, just keep getting drunk, then I will never have any problems.
It's very true. By the way, before we kick in with things, last night I had a Chinese takeaway. The reason I bring that up
Yeah.
is because I have a spare fortune cookie
Okay.
that I'd quite like you just to see what your fortune is, because it was a spare one.
Thank you very much. I kind of feel like this is a pre-planned event. And you've put in this, you are a cunt or something like that.
It's just full of razor blades.
What am I going to eat now then, mate? Okay, let me see.
That has been where the sun don't shine.
It's warm. Yeah, how long has this been in your pocket, pal?
Wasn't my pocket.
The brain! We'll finish this mouthful.
Yeah, of course. Etiquette and all that.
A smile is your personal welcome mat. Walk
Okay.
all over me.
So, yeah. Can I rub my dirty, shitty shoes all over your face?
Please do, pal. It is your personal welcome mat.
Okay, well, that was a slightly poor one, wasn't it, to be fair?
I wish it had said something like, you're going to win the lottery tomorrow, or tomorrow you will wake up and your wife will not hate you for a day.
But alas, wipe your shoes on my face.
Yeah. Right now, sorry, you're going to have to bear with me while I finish this fortune cookie, because I actually kind of like them.
Again, we've had this debate. Why do they call them cookies?
We never did come to the conclusion as to why they are called fortune cookies, but I can tell you the reason vampires hate garlic.
Okay.
Back in the day, they thought that being a vampire was a blood disease.
Right.
And garlic was seen as a natural antibiotic.
Oh, right.
So, being an antibiotic, it would cure blood diseases. So they thought that a vampire would see that and go, blah, an antibiotic, and not want to come near it because it would cure their vampirism.
Yeah, and also all vampires sound like twats.
I tried to give it a proper vampire voice, mate. I tried to go as far away from my normal voice, but thank you very much. That was very kind of you.
That's interesting, though.
More reason to brush your teeth with
Tulpa
garlic
toothpaste.
Tulpa toothpaste.
Moving on. So, a little bit of trivia, actually, for you.
Oh, God. Okay.
Well, this is more for the listeners rather than you. When we recorded our last episode together,
Oh, God.
I had found out that you got a new car.
Yes.
Or rather more, your wife decided that you'd get a new
Yeah,
car.
my wife told me we're getting a new car.
Because the old car had nothing wrong with it. It passed all its MOTs.
Mm-hmm.
Really, no reason to think it's about to drop soon.
Not in my opinion.
So she had a feeling in her water, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. Deep down in her bones.
Yeah, that this car was not going to be lasting too long.
He was going to cark it.
Car kit. So you ended up getting a new one. And you weren't best pleased about the idea because you felt like it wasn't necessary.
I mean, I just wasn't over the moon.
You would have rather got 10,000 takeaways.
Yes. That's what I tried to tell her.
Because I can take the kids to school on a pizza box and kick it down the road.
Exactly. Attach some wheels. You're all good.
Perfect. So the reason I bring that up is because you had the car about a week at this point when we recorded.
Yep.
And after our last recording, later that day, you were going to drive to the park, which all seemed fine and dandy.
Yeah.
However, on the way back, something happened with your son that never happened before.
Oh, God, yeah. My son, 5-year-old, never in his life has gotten car sick at all. And then my wife really wanted a new car, and 1 week, or 5 days to be more precise, into it, was like, I feel sick. And then we were like, okay, just breathe through your nose. We're going to pull over. And we were like seconds away from pulling over. And he just went, no, I'm going to be sick. Just puked all over the back of the front seat, down the middle compartment. It went into all the cracks. It was on the floor, underneath the floor mats. And my wife was just like, why? Why? We had to both hold our noses as we then made our way to my parents' house so we could park up and give, the children to someone while we cleaned the car out meticulously.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it was great.
He christened it for you.
Absolutely, that's what my parents said. And I did say, not the type of christening I really wanted to give the car.
Imagine when people get the babies christened. It's not what you expect.
The priest with 2 fingers down his throat. This might be a stinky one. I had a fish supper for tea.
But priest, the little bowl is empty. It won't be in a minute.
Great.
It made me laugh.
Yeah, and definitely worth bringing up on the podcast.
So anyway, Ian, what have you got for us today?
Madness, mate. Pure fucking madness.
Okay.
From start to finish, absolute utter craziness. There's no time for resting during this bit. I think it's a bit different from anything I've ever done. It's not just a single story. It's like 1,000 stories rolled into one story. Wow. And by the end of it, you're just like, what the fuck, bro?
You all right?
Fuck, bro?
Are you okay?
I'm all right. I'm reeling a bit, right? The alcohol helps because the story is just fucking madness. But the reason I want to tell you it is for one, because it's an awesome fucking tale of UFO weirdness, and two, because I think it illustrates a point that I've been trying to make for some time. And when you listen to this story, it seems like a lot is happening. And if you were to put yourself in the position of the people in it, you'd think, yeah, this is going somewhere. But in the end, if you look at exactly what happened and what is gained, I think you'll find that it seems like one of those wild goose chases that I've spoken about a fair few amount of times.
I'm quite intrigued.
And I am very excited for you to hear it. And I can't wait for you to tell me your views on it. And I hope that I haven't just blown this out of proportion in my mind. And you're like, that's a shit story, pal.
Well, I might say that anyway.
Well, I hope you don't.
I hope I don't as well, to be honest.
It's full of madness. And that is coming up a little bit later, Jordan. But in the meantime, what have you got coming up for us?
Nothing. Couldn't be bothered.
Nice.
Yeah, I just thought.
I wondered how long it'd take for you to give up.
I thought, I'll just make it up on the spot. It'll be all right.
Yeah. I am planning on doing an episode like that next week because I've got a book. 10 ways people have died during sex and other weird tales.
Brilliant.
But yeah, I think I'm just going to completely just improvise that episode.
Nice.
So that's going to be interesting. I can't wait. I tested out with my wife earlier, and one of them was a top 10 cures from the Middle Ages. And I was like, so darling, what have you got? Asthma, whooping cough, the plague. And she was like, oh, I've got the plague. And I told her what the cure for that was. And it's fucking mad.
Just to say, when you were saying that, darling wife, you've got asthma, the plague, so on and so on. You're really selling this woman.
We're going to have to put you down, darling. Sorry about that.
I see what attracted you. Love it. So, anyway, Ian, do you remember last week when...
I can't remember yesterday, pal.
That is very true, yeah, especially after all those cocktails and pineapple rum replacements.
I'm about halfway through a litre bottle of vodka right now, so...
You actually are.
No, wait. Not to sell myself short. 70 millilitres, okay?
70 what?
Millilitres.
Sorry?
Centilitres.
That's the one.
Fuck off. What is a millilitre?
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay, this was like a job for ChatGPT.
It'll just give you cocktail recipes now.
It knows me too well.
You want 70 centilitres of cocktail?
Milliliter.
I'm sure you're making it up.
No, it is a thing. Genuinely.
Convinced.
God, it didn't help.
Yeah, because I don't think it exists.
It is definitely a thing. I swear to God.
Nah. If Google can't find it, you're in trouble.
Okay, let's just move on from that because I can't find it.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist.
It does exist. It's a thing. Maybe it's a Scottish thing because I was educated there for a while.
Maybe they just can't speak it properly.
You're going the right way for a wee bottling, pal. I'll chip you with my iron brew. Don't laugh at me.
Sorry.
Continue. What have you got coming up for us today?
So, Ian, last week, do you remember when I did that little bit on the common phrases that were translated across different languages?
Yes.
Well, it got me thinking, why on earth do we say some of the things that we do? And it kind of sent me down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Okay.
So today for you, I have a list of strange phrases that we use in everyday life that make literally no sense when you think about it.
Brilliant.
But the origins of how they came to be phrases are quite surprising, and I think you'll enjoy it.
I'm pretty sure I will. I mean, like, one of my favourite things is to look up old sayings and where they got their origins from. So, like, have you ever heard the old saying, like, close but no cigar?
Yeah.
Is that one of yours?
It isn't.
Well, I'll explain it.
Are you going to make this up as well?
You're going the right way for smacking the old choppers, pal. Back in the olden days, in fairs, the prizes used to be cigars.
Oh, okay.
So if you would say, for example, like, shoot down 9 ducks, but you didn't get the 10th, the guy would be like, close, but no cigar.
And then shoot you with the
With their Glock, yeah. And you didn't pay for your last go.
Close but no cigar. Or ambulance. I didn't know that.
Very interesting, eh?
Yeah, very good. I like that. So let's get into it. The English language is a marvel to admire, but a real challenge to master. With its irregularities, there exists a wealth of phrases and idioms that confuse many non-natives.
What did you call me?
Certainly called you worse.
Very true. Sorry, continue.
We have all likely used countless expressions, idioms, proverbs, and slang in our everyday conversations that don't make any literal sense whatsoever. Now, if you thought long and hard about why you say a certain thing a certain way, you could probably make an educated guess why. But there are some English expressions that are so unusual that it's impossible to imagine where on earth they originated from unless you know the history.
And I want to know.
Well, Ian, you're in luck, because today I have for you some surprising origins of common phrases that we so often use. Starting off with Saved by the Bell.
Ooh, I feel like I know this one.
Yeah, do you know the origins of this?
I feel like I've looked it up and I have learnt it, but it, like the whole garlic situation, I have forgotten it since.
Right, the knowledge cup has overspilt.
Overflowed, poured out years ago, replaced with vodka.
And that shit's expensive. So it comes from being buried alive.
Ah, of course. This one has always baffled me.
Okay.
Because fucking wind exists.
Right.
So if there's a bell above a grave, which I presume is where you're going to go with this,
Yeah.
the entire fucking graveyard would be jingling. And people would just be like, oh my God, they're all alive, you know, running in with a fucking shovel. Ah! Just dig them all up.
Little did they know it was Storm Sierra.
From the future.
So yes, it is from being buried alive, or at least the fear of being so. And it was perceived as a frequent event in the 1800s, so much so that people created safety coffins with the mechanism to signal an escape with the graves if they were buried alive. It makes total sense, as you say, because a bit of wind.
Exactly. I mean, unless they come up with like a secret knock, in essence. It's like, oh, right, if I'm buried alive, I'll jingle Through the Fire and the Flames by Dragon Force.
Popular 1800s music.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Played on the what did you call it earlier?
Banjolele.
A banjolele, yeah. Popular for the time.
I'd have thought a lute.
Yeah, that'll do. Much like the people would be doing to the grave. I can hear the jingling, but it's not Through the Fire and the Flames. Let's fucking dig them out. Loot all the dosh.
Moving on. Daylight robbery.
Okay.
So any idea what that comes from?
Probably from the fact that robbers often operate under the cover of darkness. Like the anti-Batman.
Surely that'd be nighttime robbery.
Yeah. So that is nighttime robbery, but when something happened in broad daylight, it's through the means of like being in a shop, like someone going, oh, that bottle of water, that bottle of Evian, no, ignore the 89p label, it's actually £5,000. That is daylight robbery.
Would you have guessed it? You're wrong.
No, shit.
The actual origin was, back in the day, council tax for a property was based on how many windows that property had. So, of course, nobody likes, yeah, you're with it, nobody likes to pay council tax or any more than they have to. So homeowners would brick up excess windows, literally robbing them of daylight.
Bastards.
Uh-huh.
If you walk around our hometown, there are thousands. I mean, you can walk down a single street and see windows bricked up.
Very true. And that's why. Hence, daylight robbery.
That is very clever, and I'm glad I know that now.
Yeah, or you could go with what you said.
I mean, I love bottles of Evian.
More than most, I would say.
Do you know what annoys me?
That it's not vodka.
Yes. is, for a start off, thanks for getting that rant out of the way, right? I don't know if people know this, but that stuff comes out of taps in their own home. People buy big bottles of water. It's like if you're doing something like hiking, fair enough, then you need a bottle of water. Just buy one. Or buy a reusable one. You don't need to keep buying bottles of fucking big old water. A, it's heavy to carry home, and B, you pay for the stuff coming out your tap, and it's actually worse for you to buy bottled because the pH is higher. So it's more acidic for your body.
No, but it's less fluoride though.
Fluoride is good. It helps your teeth.
Does it?
I work for the MIBs now. Listen to the media.
Oh, your eyes are spinning.
Oh, shit. They told me they'd fix that before I came round tonight.
It's the vodka.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to blame it on.
Another one is Mad as a Hatter.
I know this one.
Oh, go on.
They used to put mercury in hats to line it, to keep it heavy, and the people who would obviously sell them would be wearing lots of them, and it'd get into the brain and make them mental.
I was waiting for it to be, it was the Alice in Wonderland thing.
No, pal, I know some stuff.
And you were totally right. So, as you said there, hats used to be made out of mercury in the 17th century France. As you say, that lining would bleed into the people wearing it and make them a little bit crazy.
Yes.
So I feel like massive tick for that. Well done.
Thanks, buddy.
Glad you got one of them. Another one, straight from the horse's mouth.
Couldn't tell you that one. It's just another joke.
What would make you think I'd do such a thing?
Oh, God, mate.
Have you heard of straight from It's not a joke, no, I promise you.
Thank God.
So the meaning, of course, is getting info directly from the source. And the origin is said to be that during the 1900s, discerning horse buyers relied on examining the animal's teeth to gauge its age accurately.
Oh, right, I see.
So this method offered a more accurate assessment of the horse's value compared to just relying on the sole word of the seller.
I see.
And as a little bonus, you can probably now guess where "don't look a gift horse in the mouth" comes from.
Nope, mate, half a bottle of vodka.
Fair enough, okay. So if you look a gift horse in the mouth, what it means is it's rude to look for flaws in a thing that was given to you as a gift.
Okay, very nice.
It kind of makes sense.
Before you go on the subject of horses, have you ever heard that saying, you can't flog a dead horse?
Yeah?
Have you heard that has been disproved?
Because you can.
You can, yeah. You just sell raffle tickets for a horse, and then you tell the person that won it, "Oh, I'm sorry, in the process, the horse has died." So then you refund their money and keep the rest of it.
I've heard that.
So you can flog a dead horse. Essentially, you have to, if you sell the raffle tickets for £5, you give the £5 back to the person. They're happy. Everyone else just thinks they're lost. Boom, you fucking flogged a dead horse, pal.
That was a great Easter raffle I'd put on.
Yeah, that's how I knew it, because I was the one that got back the £5. Yeah. And I saw the dead horse under the tarp.
Did you?
Jordan.
Little secret, there was no dead horse.
It was your wife. Sat like that with her legs out, pretending, going, "Oh, I'm dead."
Another one. To butter someone up. I should have probably thought about this for anyone who isn't from the UK.
Or might just not know the saying.
Or might not be familiar with it. How would you describe what the meaning of that is?
To butter someone up is to sweeten them up, to sort of, so you're trying to sell a car.
Or a horse.
Or a horse, and you want to make them more friendly towards you. You buy them stuff, you butter them up, you make them a bit more sweeter, more friendly towards them, maybe make them more inclined to buy said car.
Exactly. So to impress someone with flattery.
Yes.
Or Ian's favourite Friday night in, to butter someone up.
Only the member.
So the origin, in ancient India, there was a common religious practice whereby devotees would throw butterballs at statues of gods in hopes of receiving blessings and forgiveness.
Okay.
So hence to butter someone up, if you're into that.
I mean, how did that translate from overseas, from India to us into our sayings?
Not a clue. Didn't get that far.
Okay.
Moving on.
Again, read the first paragraph, the end.
There's enough to get through, I had to,
Yeah, fair enough.
To turn a blind eye.
Not a clue.
So it's meaning to know something is true but refuse to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And the origin, Horatio Nelson, a skilled British naval officer, was unique to most in that he was blind in one eye. And during the Battle of Copenhagen in 1801, when the Admiral signalled to retreat via flags, Nelson, reluctant to comply, famously lifted his telescope to his blind eye and remarked that, "I didn't see anything."
Oh, okay. Plain dumb.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably typical stubborn Brit, really.
Did he win? Did he die?
I didn't get that far, so feel free to do your own research on that in your own time.
I hope you're not talking to me, because I ain't gonna.
I wouldn't have thought so. To fly off the handle.
Not a clue.
To become suddenly enraged.
Yep.
So during the 1800s, again, there was instances where poorly crafted axes would spontaneously detach from the handles mid-use, resulting in them flying off.
Yeah.
So this not only posed a significant danger, of course, but also provided extreme annoyance to the person wielding said axe.
Right.
And little did they know it would actually cause them to literally fly off the handle themselves.
I get
Ironic.
it. I get it. Never heard that one before.
Now you have.
I'm so happy I have.
You're more than welcome, making your life that much more enriched.
Where does that saying come from?
From me, I just said it.
Brilliant, thanks.
What about blood is thicker than water?
No idea. I know what it means. Like your family is more important than friends.
Yeah. So the origin of that is that although many might think this saying means that we should put family ahead of friends, just like you said, it actually meant the complete opposite originally.
All right, so friends are more important than family. So your mate's got his 18th birthday party planned, but your mum's on a deathbed. So, blood's thicker than water. Gotta go out with Steve, mate. Couldn't let him celebrate this on his own. Soz, mum, you're on your own. Yeah?
Yeah, exactly. She's had enough of your time.
Yeah, at least 15 years.
Yeah.
You're only young.
Exactly. Whereas actually, Ian...
I wish people could see us recording this, because there's so many times I just grab my head like, what the fuck have I just said?
If only there's such thing as a video format.
I ain't going to do that, because the amount of edits would be in that would be ridiculous.
Like, why is Ian so juttery? He doesn't stay still. It's like stop motion animation.
Is he made of clay?
I'm sure I saw him in Wallace and Gromit.
I played the moon.
Beautiful cheese, though.
I don't shower.
To go back to this, the full phrase actually was, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
Really? Right.
Yeah. Which eventually, over time, it just got shortened.
Yeah.
And it referred to warriors who shared the experiences of bloodshed in battles together.
Right.
So those blood brothers, as they were referred to, were said to have stronger bonds than the biological brothers.
So the things that you've been through and the bonds that you form with your fellow warriors is stronger than the ones you have with your family.
Exactly.
Wow.
So actually, we've turned it into the complete opposite meaning.
I wish I knew that, right? Because, when I was 18, 19 and I was going out, my mum was like,
Ian, please just stay in another night. Just spend some time with your family. Blood's thicker than water.
I could have just gone, exactly. Slam the door.
Which is what you did anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't make a blind bit of difference. Another one, break a leg. Or your neck and leg bone, as we've discovered.
Neck and leg bone, yeah. That is for the theatres.
Yeah, do you know specifically why?
Possibly. It was bad luck to say good luck, and that's about as far as I get.
Yeah, you're essentially right. In folklore throughout history, it was encouraged that people wish others bad luck, as you said, because it was believed that wishing someone good luck would attract evil spirits.
Those whackers.
I know. And thus the tradition of wishing someone to break a leg emerged as a way to ironically wish them safety and success.
Okay.
So you basically had that.
So Jordan, after I leave tonight, I hope you suffocate and die in your sleep.
Thanks so much.
And by that I mean I hope you wake up tomorrow and have a successful day.
If you don't hear from me tomorrow, I'll refer you to this.
No, I didn't say anything. I'll just edit out that part and just be like, have a successful day.
Penultimate one. To give someone the cold shoulder.
Oh, isn't this something to do with cuts of meat?
Oh, you're onto it. So first of all, what does it mean?
So where you ignore someone, fob them off, kind of ain't talking to you anymore.
Yeah.
So your mum's like, don't go out tonight.
There's a lot of your mum examples in this.
Spend some time with your family, Ian. You've been drunk every night for the last 4 years. I just ignore her, kind of turn the other cheek.
Or some might say being unwelcoming and antisocial towards someone.
Yeah.
You weren't wrong. So the origin of that, you think cuts of meat?
Yeah, something to do with that. If someone isn't invited to a party or something like that, is it? Give them the cold shoulder, as in say, fuck off.
Kind of, yeah. So to go into that a little bit more, the phrase dates back to early 1800s again, with a bygone tradition where an unwelcome guest would be offered a cold piece of meat from the shoulder of either mutton, pork or beef chop, in contrast to the warm serving reserved for welcomed visitors.
Right.
So it was a polite way, essentially, of telling your guest, you may now please leave.
Or GTFO, bitch.
Yeah.
Or good for. As it used to be pronounced back in the day.
Personally, I just preferred to whip out the old double barrel.
Oh, I wonder what you were going to go with that then. Just windmill at them.
Initially, I was going to say cock the shotty. Probably came across misconstrued. Wouldn't want them to overstay the welcome.
Enticing them in, like rubbing the knees.
And I'll leave you with my personal favourite. It's raining cats and dogs.
Is this from back in the 14th century where hurricanes used to suck up cats and dogs and rain them down on villages and they thought it was a horrific omen?
Firstly, no. And secondly...
Absolutely not.
What does it mean?
To be like raining loads, like fucking coming down, pal.
Exactly.
Raining cats and dogs.
But I'm afraid the whole thing you said before that, not quite right.
It's the 15th century, you idiots.
Yes. To be honest, though, it was the 1500s in Britain where houses commonly had thatched roofs made of piled up straw without any wood underneath. In the chilly, overcast, typical weather of the UK, animals such as cats and small dogs sought refuge in the warmth of these thatched roofs. So as you can imagine now, during periods of intense rainfall, some of the animals would unfortunately slip from the straw and get washed into the gutters, sometimes falling to the ground. Hence the phrase, it's raining cats and dogs.
So heavy rain equals cats and dogs in your roof falling through.
No, not falling through your roof, falling off the roof into the street.
Oh, that's fine then, so long as my house is untouched by the rain.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they might bring the straw with it and therefore the rain, but I mean, the saying isn't it's raining cats and dogs and straw.
That's true.
So possibly not. And can you imagine, though, being 16th century Britain, thinking,
My golly gosh, I've left me brolly. It's fucking pissing down.
when in reality, you could have done with taking your hard hat because it was fucking raining canines and felines.
Attacked by animals.
So there you have it, Ian. A little follow-up to explain some of the origins of common phrases from our language, to prove above all doubt, and there is a lot of doubt, that we are not only entertaining but incredibly insightful.
Oh, yeah, that's what I got from that.
That's all that matters. And a little message, actually, to our dear listeners, because if anybody knows the origins of the phrase pissed as a fart, I would really appreciate the answer, because I did a lot of research and I could not find anything.
Have you asked ChatGPT?
To be fair, I hadn't.
Do it. Do it right now.
Okay.
Because while you do that, I can pour myself a drink.
Okay, deal.
Without disturbing the recording.
So ChatGPT has spoken.
Does it take over time already?
The phrase "pissed as a fart" is a colourful colloquial. I can't fucking say it. It's a colourful saying used to describe someone who is extremely drunk. Its origins are unclear, but it likely stems from the idea that, like a fart, excessive drinking can leave one feeling intoxicated and somewhat uncontrollable.
Right, I have asked a different AI, which uses ChatGPT 4, and it says the phrase "pissed as a fart" is a rather crude simile for being very drunk. It's the exact same.
Way!
There is a little extra, I think, though. Another source mentions the expression came from the time of Nelson and was associated with Royal Navy Junior...
Oh, newts. I think the original saying was "pissed as a newt."
Okay.
And I guess it's kind of evolved from that.
Makes sense. Newton fart sounds so similar.
Newton fart sounds like a person.
Newton fart sounds like a measurement of something. Right, mate. Well, thank you very much for teaching me that I am shit at English.
You're welcome.
My native language.
It.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get told by my wife nearly every day how bad I am at it.
And English.
Fuck off. That's like the one thing I'm good at. Aren't I? You should know.
So, Ian, I am dying to know these 1 million stories rolled up into one.
And this is a fucking long story. So buckle your cock to your knees. I know it
doesn't reach that far.
I know. Just try your hardest.
Okay.
Do the stretch that we spoke about.
All right.
I'm sick of you not reaching the P spot. But let's just fucking get into this, me old pal. This fucking mental story. On June 24th, 1947, a man named Kenneth Arnold, who was a salesman... You're not looking at me.
Sorry.
Listen.
I am certainly listening.
What date was it on?
It was sometime...
Sometime during the year. One of the days in the year. It was June 24th, 1947. A man named Kenneth Arnold, who was a salesman, who used his little biplane he owned and piloted himself, called a Calais A2, to travel from place to place, selling fire suppression equipment to places like industrial sites. So he was flying home from Yakima, Washington, after a business trip, when over the radio came a report that there had been a suspected downed craft near Mount Rainier. It wasn't too far from him. The radio people were asking pilots in the area to help look for it. He had time to spare, so he diverted briefly, hoping to help out and also maybe bag himself some reward money in the process, as they'd offered £5,000, equivalent to $66,000 in today's money, to anyone who located the plane. So he thought, fuck it, I'll help out, and off he popped. It was nice clear skies with mild wind conditions, and a few minutes before 3 p.m, a bright flash out of his window caught his attention, similar to sunlight reflecting off of a mirror. Arnold scanned the airspace looking for another aircraft, but only saw a DC-4, which was a 4-engine propeller-driven airliner used for commercial transport, about 50 miles back and to his left. Around 30 seconds later, he saw another succession of bright flashes just north of Mount Rainier, 20 to 25 miles off in the distance. First, he thought it might have been reflections from something in the cockpit, so he did some little tests to see if he could replicate any of the circumstances. He fiddled with his glasses, he moved his window, nothing caused a flash. He thought briefly that it might have been a flock of geese, but quickly dismissed that due to his high altitude, the rapid speed, and the fact that geese aren't shiny.
Unless they're wet.
Is that true? I mean, I'm stupid, apparently. Is that a thing? Are wet geese shiny?
I guess anything that's wet is shiny, isn't it?
No. You have a dog? Is that shiny when it's wet?
Yeah, pretty.
Okay, fair enough. God.
No, Jordan. Mm-hmm. Jordan. I've said it before.
Sorry, my mistake. Jordan. He finally concluded that the flashes must have been coming from some kind of flying object. And then he saw them. 9 flying disc-like objects approaching Mount Rainier. They were dark against the snow-topped mountain and occasionally flashed in the sun. Arnold said they were convex-shaped and they moved similar to a stone skipping on top of water. He estimated their size to be similar to the DC-4 plane which I mentioned earlier, and later estimated they exceeded 100 feet in length each.
I guess that's quite long.
Very long. How long would you assume a Boeing 747 is, for example?
Actually, I couldn't even tell you.
How long is a Boeing 747?
Has a length of 231 feet, 10 inches.
So about half of a Boeing 747.
About that, yeah. So, I mean, there's 9 of them as well, flying in succession. I mean, you were listening, so what year was this, Jordan? It's not in your notes. What year was it?
It was.
I'll give you the first half. 19.
I was going to guess that.
Would have probably gone for that. Ian.
Just say that the second half.
Okay, 47.
No, is it 1947?
Holy shit, Jordan, mate! How did you guess that? You
just a good listener.
So Arnold watched as they flew in a diagonal step-down formation spread over a distance of around 5 miles, weaving through valleys and around mountain peaks. He said he got a bizarre, eerie feel from the crafts, but assured himself that they must simply be a new US military aircraft undergoing test flights. Upon passing Mount Rainier, Arnold altered his course southward, opening his side window for a better view, and watched as the objects maintained their rapid southward trajectory. And at this, Arnold had a smashing idea to time their passage from Mount Rainier to Mount Adams, which covered about a distance of 50 miles. He timed this journey as 1 minute and 42 seconds, which meant they must have been travelling at speeds in excess of 1,700 miles per hour, which was faster than any aircraft of 1947.
Okay, that is fast.
That is pretty fucking fast. So you might think that's the end of it, but that is literally just the fucking beginning of the madness.
Wow.
So 10 days after Arnold's sighting, a United Airlines pilot, Mr. E.J. Smith, reported seeing the very same formation skipping over Emmett, Idaho. So Arnold was like, holy shit, another guy has seen the same sighting as me? He dropped what he was doing. Let's hope it was nothing important like picking up his kids or driving. But he rushed over to talk to him. The two bonded and quickly became friends. So now we introduce a third person, one Mr. Ray Palmer. Palmer put out a magazine called Fate, and in the very first published issue, he told the story of Kenneth Arnold's sighting. And then Palmer started writing letters to Arnold, asking if he could get the scoop on his story. He was like, I want you to help me investigate, pal. Let's get to the bottom of this story. Arnold replied, just sending his response letter that he sent to everyone, but Palmer was really persistent. wanting to report on the deeper story, see if he could dig up any other info that was hiding that no one else had. After the third letter Arnold received from Palmer, which read something along the lines of,
Mate, you're a pilot. There was a sighting over Tacoma, Washington. I want you to go and look at this for me. I'll pay you. We'll get the scoop on this together, pal.
Arnold was not interested. And wouldn't you know it, at the time, he's chatting to two intelligence officers and read Men in Black, who had flown into town to talk to him about what he had seen. Arnold said to them,
Hey, my pal E.J. Smith, he's another guy who saw those 9 crafts after I did. He's flying into town today, too. You should chat to him.
And the MIBs were like,
Don't you worry, pal. He's another guy we want to talk to. In the meantime, we just want to talk to you.
They had a look around at some of the letters he'd received from other UFO witnesses. They took some letters and disappeared. But on their way out, they said the usual,
Maybe best not to talk to anyone about this, yeah? Maybe keep it to yourself, yeah? The Normans wouldn't understand it, yeah?
So they left. Arnold was sat there, must have felt bored or something, because he picked up one of the letters from Palmer, who had written to him asking him to go and look into another sighting, and he thought, you know what, fuck it. Arnold asked for an advance on his pay from Palmer. Palmer said, fuck yeah, pal. Sent him $200, and Arnold was like, I'm out of here, pal. Dropped everything again. Didn't tell anyone where he was going, and just up and went on his merry investigating way. So Arnold arrives at Tacoma, Washington. It's quite late and he needs a place to stay. So he starts going from hotel to hotel asking for a room, and it turns out they were all full. No room at the inn, bitch. So he carries on his search and finally comes to the last one on the list. It's a bit posh looking, super fancy, but needs must. He goes in, asks for a room, and they say,
What's your name, wee pal?
and he says,
Kenneth Arnold, me old laddie.
they say,
You silly Billy. You've already got a reservation.
and he's like, huh? He's thinking to himself,
I didn't make a reservation. No one even knew I was coming here. I didn't even know I was coming to this specific hotel.
but he decided to keep his mouth shut. He thought that by pure coincidence that another Kenneth Arnold must have made the reservation, not turned up, and score, he's got himself a free room. He figured he'd try his luck, hoping the non-existent other Kenneth Arnold would not show up and just say, yep, that's me, took the key, and off he goes to his room.
Okay, I'm assuming, based on what you've said, that is not indeed the case.
Yeah, that's kind of like the crazy kind of thought that you had, like he just turned up to a fucking hotel and bizarrely there's just another Kenneth Arnold that didn't show up. So he gets to his room, gets set up, maybe makes himself one of those shitty complimentary coffees you get in hotels, grabs a phone book and looks up the name of the guy he's there to talk to. A guy who is called Harold Dahl. So he calls him up, explains who he is and why he's there, and asks if they can meet. And down the phone, Dahl says,
You know what, pal? This stuff is so strange. I don't know if you really want to hear it. I don't really know if I want to tell you about it. I don't really know if you want to get involved in this stuff.
and Arnold's like,
Look, bitch, I'm a seasoned UFO guy when it comes to this shit.
and he actually has to convince Dahl to tell him the story. So eventually, Dahl says,
Fine.
he's cool with it. He comes to the hotel room to discuss his encounter, which goes like this. On June 21st, Dahl, who worked as a harbour patrolman, was out doing his rounds. His 15-year-old son and their dog were along for the trip, and they were close to a little uninhabited island called Murray Island, when all of a sudden they spotted 6 UFOs flying around in the sky. Dahl said it seemed like one of them was in distress, sort of wobbling around, and the others were circling it. They noticed that something was coming off of the poorly UFO, which looked like thin bits of paper, maybe like confetti, but as it got closer, they realised it was thin bits of molten metal. They tried to get some pictures of it as it flew nearer, but by this point, the craft was so close, and so much of this molten metal was falling off the goddamn thing, that they ended up ditching their boat, running onto the island, and hiding in caves because the slag was coming down in droves and threatening to burn them.
I feel a bit sorry for this UFO.
Why the UFO? There's burning humans, and you're like, poor UFO.
I don't know, it just feels like it must have made this massive travel excursion and it's a little bit wobbly.
Well, we know about aliens, so, you know, good that they probably crash and burn. Bastards.
Fair enough.
They abduct humans. They could have abducted you, John, last night.
They could have.
And did they?
Well, I remember. Not yet.
Yeah, wait for the regression in like 30 years. When it was all over, they emerged from their hiding place. The son had unfortunately broken his arm, but the poor doggy had gotten the worst of it. Old Poochie had sadly been killed by this falling slag.
It's just the use of slang.
I didn't want to put it in because there's too many jokes. That's what it's called.
Don't you just hate when a slag falls and kills your dog?
It's generally what I pay for, to be honest.
It's a typical night in our hometown.
It's a double cost. I have to buy a dog.
And the insurance won't pay up.
Yeah. So Dahl picked up as much of this metal as he could as proof and got his boy back on the boat, and off to hospital they went. Dahl then went back to his boss, a man named Fred Chrisman. He said what had happened, tried to explain why the boat was a little worse for wear. He wasn't really believing it, so Chrisman said, "You know what, I'll go out to Maury Island and I'll see what's there." He did, and he did indeed find a load of this solidified metal. He picked up a load more of it, stuck it in a box to take back to the office, but wouldn't you know it, as he was leaving the fucking island, he saw a fucking UFO just whizzing by, so he quickly became a believer. So all of this happened in one day. The very next day, a man, who we can only assume was wearing a nicely pressed black suit and red lipstick, turned up at Dahl's home and said he wanted to take Dahl to breakfast. And this wasn't generally uncommon, because being the harbour patrolman, he might have been sort of wined and dined by people who might be asking for his services to maybe raise a boat or go and find something. So he was like, yeah, fair enough, but they usually take him to shitty diners. But he took him to a very fancy restaurant and said,
I know what happened to you yesterday. In fact, I know more about what happened to you yesterday than you know what happened to you yesterday. You weren't supposed to see that, and I think it's best if you don't discuss it with anyone.
So, back to the interview in Arnold's room. Arnold was hearing this story and for some reason thinking, this guy is crazy. He'd seen some of the metal that Dahl had, and had even been taken out to a remote location that was a little shack that Dahl had used as an office. There was a filing cabinet, some office furniture, a secretary who worked on site, and also where Dahl had kept bulk of the UFO metal. But Arnold, he just kind of thought this metal could have come from anything. He didn't really much care for the story. He planned to check out the next day, call it a trip, and just head home. But he didn't get fucking chance. The very next morning, bright and early, he gets a little knock at his hotel door. It's Dahl and Chrisman. Chrisman backs up the story, shows him more metal. Arnold is like, okay, fair enough, let's keep investigating. So he calls Smith, the airline pilot who also saw the 9 discs that Arnold bonded with, that I mentioned earlier. Upon him hearing this, he also flies out straight away. So now there's 4 guys in Arnold's room, just sat discussing what happened, trying to figure it out. So now at this point, things get a little fucking weird.
They're not already?
God, no. All of a sudden, the phone in the hotel at the front desk rings. United Press, a newspaper, are on the other side of it, and the caller asks for Arnold by name, who rushes down to take the call. The caller introduces himself as Ted Morello. He said to Arnold, a stranger that won't identify himself keeps calling and telling him what Arnold is doing. He called him earlier and said there's 4 guys in a room. He told them what he was discussing and what their next moves were going to be. Arnold thinks his room's been bugged. He's not very happy. And so after careful discussion, they all come to the conclusion that the Men in Black were the best people to call.
I'd have said the Ghostbusters.
This episode sponsored by Ghostbusters. So they also fly back immediately. Before they arrive, Dahl says, "Fuck it, mate. I'm out. This is all too weird. I gotta get back to normality. Here's a number where you can reach me. Let me know how it turns out, but fuck y'all," kind of. He's out of there. The MIBs turn up, hear the story again. They seemingly don't really care about the metal that was retrieved, but they take it all away for testing, and they say, right, we gotta go off and catch a flight. Arnold, being a pilot, was like,
You fucking what, pal? You just got here. You got to rest. You can't fly back now.
but they were insistent, and they did indeed leave.
Why did he allow that?
I'm in your house right now. If you were like, I've got to go, I'm not going to stop you. Like,
Right, I've got to go.
yeah, this episode's going on far too long. But the next day at breakfast, there is Chrisman, Arnold, and Smith. They are called over by the hotel manager, and he says Ted Morello, the guy from the newspaper, is on the phone again, and he's sounding quite upset. Ted said that he'd received a call from his mystery caller who told him some news, and he's just calling to pass it on. He said, you know those 2 guys, the MIBs that took the metal? They're like, yeah. He's like, they were in a plane crash last night. They're both dead.
Wow.
Arnold is upset. Things are getting out of hand. But Ted invites them to his office because he says there is one thing that they might be interested in hearing. There's an interview from a survivor from the plane crash that them 2 MIBs were on, and here is what that survivor said. he had to go and do some duty in wherever it was that plane was going. He just got chucked on this plane and off they all went. But as soon as they got in the air, one engine went out. They all knew that this heavy crate filled with all this metal had been loaded. The flight was rocky and it didn't seem like it was really going to stay in the air. He said these two MIBs had a weird look on their face. They all had parachutes, but suddenly, out of nowhere, the two guys got up, opened the door, kicked him out, kicked the pilot out. The plane kept going. He said they would have had plenty of time to get out alive, but he got the impression that whatever the cargo was, they were told to guide it with their lives. The plane went down and they did indeed die.
So it seems like they could have had ample opportunity to survive that.
To save themselves, yeah.
And for whatever reason didn't.
So they were making sure that whatever that was didn't fall into whatever hands it was they didn't want it to get into.
It's the ultimate sacrifice.
Good old Men in Black. Ted Morello, after hearing this news, runs off to the crash site, gets told it's a secret operation, and gets turned away. So EJ Smith is pissed. He decides to leave the hotel, wanting to desperately get to the bottom of this batshit crazy mystery, heads to an airbase called McCord Air Base to chat with his pal, Major Sander, who is an intelligence guy. Smith says, dude, this fucking shit is mental, pal. You are the highest ranking person on this goddamn base. Please give me some fucking answers. Sander looks at the fragments that they had of the metal, says, yeah mate, probably a big hoax there, pal. Then loaded Arnold and Smith into a van, took them out into a remote smelting plant, showed them some random bits of metal laying about on the floor and goes, just looks like that, doesn't it? One of the guys in the truck protests and says, no, I don't think they're the same. Let's pull over, compare our fragments to them. But Sander says, nah, they're probably exactly the same, buddy. No need to compare. And then drives them back to the hotel, drops them off, leaves them there, and taking all the remaining metal fragments with him.
Sander sounds like someone who we should be wary of.
Absolutely. The whole weird thing about all of this is like every person they've spoken to sounds like someone you should be wary of. So I don't know if you've noticed, but everyone through this is like taking bits of their metal. So it's I can carry 7 pockets full, and then someone else will be like, yeah, I can carry like a bag full. I've got a Tesco bag for life, mate. I can carry a bag of that out.
So that's implying maybe that they're all working together to get this evidence away from this guy.
It's like there's the people who experienced it on one level, and there's the people who are controlling it on another level, and they're the ones who are sort of, getting involved slightly. And I'll listen to your story. Doesn't sound like any of them, pal. Mel, I'll take that for testing.
Yeah, never see it again.
Yeah, exactly. So the two guys are now stumped. They think, what the fuck have we got left to do? They said, let's go talk to Dahl again, ask him to go over his story again, see if he's got any other info that maybe missed. So they, not knowing where to really find him, go back to that shack where Dahl's secretary worked from, and when they arrive, the place is cleaned out. It looks derelict, emptied, no signs of life, and Arnold is fucking dumbfounded. So now Dahl and Chrisman are gone, 2 MIBs are dead, and they are just like at a complete loss. Tom Morello then gets a call from his mystery caller who says,
oh, by the way, Chrisman has been relocated to Alaska by the Army Air Force. Dahl left his business and his family and just up and left.
So that's 2 people missing. So Arnold is now thinking, what the fuck? He decides to leave. He gets in his plane and is flying home. He stops to refuel, and on the second leg of his journey while in the air, his engine's cut out and he's forced to make a crash landing, which he barely survives. When the plane was investigated to see what had happened, it was found that it had been sabotaged. The valve that provides the fuel to the engine had been switched off, so in essence, it was a guarantee from that stop that he would be able to make it to cruising altitude, but wouldn't be able to make it any further, so it did seem like someone was trying to kill him off. But luckily, he found a field that was just long enough for him to make a crash landing without dying. So that is the end of the story, Jordan.
A lot to unpack.
It's fucking mental, yeah. And from the beginning when I said, if you imagine yourself as Kenneth Arnold going through this and going from person to person, you're thinking, this is where the answers are going to come from. We've made a bit of progression in the story. We're going to meet someone, they're going to, help us progress in it. But when you think back, like, fuck all happened. No information from anywhere.
That whole wild goose chase.
Yeah. And, it ended with him almost dying and going back to his normal life. After what?
Jumping through enormous hoops.
Yeah, for fuck all.
Literally nothing, yeah.
Yeah, mental.
Wow. What's your thoughts on it? I'm curious, because you've had a lot of chance to digest this.
I think it is literally just, it's normal from what you hear in the UFO field and the paranormal field. It's just normal. So refer back to episode, 4? When I spoke about the fourth dimension, that kind of thing.
So like, 63 episodes ago?
Yes. Sorry to bring up such a shit episode back when we were still in the early days.
Not quite as bad as episode 22, was it?
Do you want to not? Fucking dickhead.
Yeah, very interesting. Never heard of this story at all, but that's odd. There's a lot to unpack in that.
Yeah.
So this Arnold guy, did he ever have any of these metal pieces in the end in his possession?
To be honest, that would have been a fantastic thing for me to research and look into, but I did not, so I don't know.
Okay. I'm assuming probably not.
Probably not. It does seem like everyone just kind of took them.
How does he know that the Men in Black ended up dying?
It was reported.
Okay, and he happened to see it?
Yeah, it was in a report, and then they had the witness who was a survivor from the plane crash.
Right.
But I mean, like, was he actually a witness, or was he just a plant?
Yeah, because that said witness could have just said that.
But then why would he have made up such a weird story when he just said, oh, the plane went down and we all crashed and they couldn't get out? Why would he say, I saw them get on, they were acting weird, they could have gotten off?
Maybe it was to make him seem more normal.
Or to make Arnold seem more crazy.
Maybe.
Because then where would this witness have really been if Arnold would try and get back in touch with him? So Arnold can be like, oh, this witness said this. You know, it's like, where is this witness?
Right, to make him relay the information he's been told.
Yeah.
And seem batshit bonkers.
Yeah.
Got you.
It's like if you told me you wanted to sleep with my wife through a bowl of boiled rice. And I was like, wife, you're cheating on me. My friend said he wants to sleep with you through a bowl of boiled rice. You'd be like, that's fucking mental, mate. What kind of information is that?
True.
And then you'd be like, in the background, like in the closet, what you know about?
Do another bowl of boiled rice.
But yeah, sorry there was no room for any comedy in that. I thought the 100 mile an hour was enough to maybe keep me entertained.
Absolutely. Warrants a lot of thought, doesn't it?
Back to you not editing this episode.
Shit.
Alright, okay, so does that about bring us round to the end of today's episode, Jordan?
No, I think I've got loads more to talk about.
If you've got a third segment to go to.
Yes, I think it does, Ian.
I'm out. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Two Guys What's Up. Don't forget to follow the show wherever you listen to us so you don't miss another fantastical fucking episode, and maybe even tell a friend. But don't tell your Men in Black friend, because then they'll come to our house and try and shut us down. But we like to pass out the truth like a shit game of pass the parcel, where every layer is revealing a dirty new truth of the government.
Dirty buggers. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, our Linktree link is in the bio of this episode, which you can click on and be jetted off to every single link you will ever need for all your Two Guys What's Up essentials. Fancy getting your own Two Guys What's Up t-shirt? Click the link!
Fancy visiting my free hug booth? Click the link!
Want to find out where your favourite phrases origin from? Click that link!
And don't forget, we now have a Patreon where you can find all of your Two Guys What's Up extra essentials, including pin badges, shout-outs, t-shirts, and if you really can't get enough of our disgusting voices and shit episodes, well then now you can get more of them, because we now release bonus episodes which come out on the last Friday of every month. And there is currently 9 sitting up there waiting for your ears to just have a little bit of a audio diarrhea, and all that is available right now for just £3 a month.
So if you want to help support the show and get some cool stuff while you do so, head over to patreon.com/Two Guys What's Up to check out all the goodies over there. The link will be down below for your clicking pleasure.
You're right, pal. You sound like a mantis.
Yeah.
Oh god. But if you can't do that, but you'd still like to help us out, then a 5-star rating and review in your podcast app of choice would be the best way to help us out, and we would be eternally grateful.
Indeed, it must, Mo.
But on that note, thanks for listening. You'll have an amazing week, and we will see you next Monday.
Bye.
Bye.
It's still fun.
Yeah, then you ply me with cocktails.
Absolutely.
I like how if you just ply me with a cock.
While you wear that tail. So, should we get straight into it?
Can I pour a drink first? Because I'm trying to be quiet, but we're in the same room.
Absolutely.
So.
You can do it over the swoosh.
to do a proper swoosh. The blades!